This is Terrence Andre Banks coming to you from Information Age Financial Solutions, discussing the economy. And I just finished reading The New Great Depression by James Rickards. I'm a huge fan of his because of just the outline and the detail that he provides. And especially in the day and age that we're living in, where so much things are changing and everything's been uh, upended because of the pandemic that we've been through. James Rickards does a fantastic job, and this is one of his shorter books uh, that he's done. I've read Currency Wars, The Death of Money, Aftermath. I've read all of them. I even recommend Aftermath again. I'm pulling it up here. I did a video about that sometime in the past. But The Great Depression is short of those other books, about 165 pages, and it's just packed full of just information and explaining that we're in a new day and era, and this is the new Great Depression because of just the growth and the ripple effects of what's going to come in the next couple of years. Many people, many times, and he points out, I should say many times, many points out in the book specifically about the handling of the pandemic and the way the financial institutions is too, as well, in terms of the Fed and such a detailed look at that and how it's been mishandled. Um, he uses complex, equations to get to his theories and how he outlines out. Also gives you tips and just tips and different aspects in itself in terms of what can you do, how to protect yourself, what may be the best asset class for you to get into, and it's just a fantastic book. I'm just a spokesman and just really good at it. He wrote this in 2020. Um, I just want to read the back of the book just for you to get familiar with it and give you just a little wet your whistle, as they say, what you can expect from this. Depression is as much psychological as numeric. Output and employment figures matter, but behavioral changes matter more. And he talks about that, and that's why I wanted to read that back end part here. As growth returns, gains will start from such a depressed plane that the pre-pandemic output level will not be achieved for years. Unemployment will start to decline, yet from such high levels that hard times will persist for millions of workers for years to come. Numbers aside, behavioral changes will be profound and intergenerational. People will spend less and save more despite White House hectoring to borrow and spend like the good old days. Those days are over. And just that excerpt alone is worth your time to read. Again, it's a great book. I've ear notes and highlighted so many different areas. Why fiscal policy is not stimulus is one of my great chapters there. Velocity of money, Bayesian theory, which is usually used for physics. He puts that into a theory, how he comes up with his ideas. And he's an insider. He's not someone who's just, run of the mill, just speaking from the heart. He's one who's been in the inside, worked with so many different officials, worked with the banking, high echelons in terms of banking, CIA. He has a background in that. It's just his accolades and respect speaks for itself. Again, winners and losers in a post-pandemic world, and this again, he wrote this in 2020, right probably during the pandemic, and it's just worth your time, really worth your time, and he has to talk about the pandemic because of just we're living through that and we're still in it. And it's just, of all his books, this is the shortest of two, but he just gives such fantastic information. I want to point out one more thing that really just stuck out to me. A word on robots. Over 90% of all stock trading is done not by humans, but by robots. No matter how often the information is repeated, investors don't get it. These are not merely electronic order matching systems that offer anonymity and cheap execution. Those have been around since the 1990s. Trading today is done by real robots that use coded algorithms to make buy and sell decisions and execute trades in nanoseconds without human intervention. When you make investment decisions, remember, you're not competing with other investors, you're competing with robots. I repeat that again because the market goes up and down and is continuing on this upward trend. And that focal point sometimes, eludes us and we forget about it. And it's worth repeating there. Robots are programmed with code developed by engineers in Silicon Valley, many of whom have never set foot on Wall Street. They use large data sets, correlations, and regressions, and they read headlines and content for keywords. When certain keywords are counted, or when price action deviates from a predetermined baseline, the robot is triggered and executes a buy or sell. That's about it. Worth repeating that again and again. 20 or 30 years is not enough to form a good baseline. Buy the dips, chase momentums, or believe the Fed it can really damage you. Worth your time. Definitely take a look at this book. Again, he wrote it in 2020. I just finished getting to it. With life going on and stuff like that, I just had to point it out because it was such a fantastic book that I thought I'd do a video on it. If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments. Until my next video for Information Age Financial Solutions, I'm out.